Chaos on Colbert, Jasmine Crockett. Turns late night into a showdown last night. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert morphed from witty entertainment into a primetime powder keg when Rep. Jasmine Crockett took the stage and then took over. What began as a routine political interview quickly escalated into a fiery exchange that ended with Crockett's abrupt exit and left audiences stunned. According to sources, the Texas Congresswoman, known for her unapologetic candor and rising star power, arrived with a mission. No softball questions, no scripted smiles. Colbert, famed for his sharp political satire, kicked things off with a jab. Here to defend your record or just trade barbs tonight? Crockett didn't flinch. I don't duck a challenge, Stephen, she shot back, flipping the spotlight onto the host and questioning whether he avoids uncomfortable truths behind the comfort of a desk. The tension was immediate. The audience's reaction split. Some leaned in, intrigued, others stiffened. And then, it exploded. Colbert queued up a viral clip of Crockett eviscerating an opponent in the House. That's some fire, he quipped. But is it all heat, no light? Crockett didn't miss a beat. My plans are public and clear. You just prefer punchlines to policy, she fired, accusing the host of chasing cheap laughs while sidestepping real issues. Behind the scenes, producers were already on edge. The segment had veered off course within minutes, and Crockett was not backing down. Things hit a fever pitch when Colbert pressed her on poverty in her district. You're swinging in Congress, he said. But what's really getting done for your people? Her reply was fierce. You think poverty's fixed overnight? I'm fighting for the folks you'd rather joke about. She pivoted to attack tax policies she claimed benefit elites, the very ones you sip cocktails with backstage. Audience reactions rippled, cheers clashing with gasps. But Colbert wasn't done. He flashed a fabricated headline hinting at a fake ethics probe into her campaign. Care to clear this up? He prodded. Crockett rolled her eyes. That's fiction your pals wrote. Let's talk about your sponsors. Pharma money writing the checks, right? That's when things spiraled. Producers signaled for a break, but Crockett refused to yield. You don't get to dodge this, she declared, powering through the interruption as staff scrambled behind the scenes. What followed was pure, unscripted chaos. The control Colbert is known for slipped through his fingers as Crockett seized the moment and the narrative. Clips of the exchange went viral in real time, trending across social media as the showdown unfolded. Political analysts are already calling it a turning point, not just for Crockett, but for late-night TV itself. Her appearance peeled back the polished veneer of the format, exposing a rawer, more confrontational reality beneath. And just when viewers thought it couldn't get more intense, the real fireworks were yet to come. Late-night meltdown. Jasmine Crockett's clash with Colbert shatters the script. What started as a late-night interview quickly devolved into an all-out media maelstrom, exposing the fragile limits of the format and leaving everyone, from crew to crowd, visibly shaken. As the tension surged, Stephen Colbert, clearly rattled, attempted to pivot with a forced grin. You're keeping us on our toes, Jasmine, he said, hoping to regain control. But instead of cooling the flames, he threw gasoline on them, tossing out a new accusation about a fictional donor dinner with oil tycoons. How's that square with your champion of the people line? He asked, flashing a blurry, obviously staged photo on screen. Crockett didn't blink. That's a lie you'd want to believe, Stephen, she fired back. It was a community event, not your oil-funded fantasy. But while we're at it, who's paying for this desk? She pointed toward Colbert's sponsors, calling out corporate ties. The audience erupted, cheers clashing with boos as the room transformed from studio to arena. The script was gone. The energy turned electric. Facing the audience directly, Crockett declared, "This is what they don't want you to see. The mask's off. The game's up." The studio jolted. Some fans leapt to their feet, phones raised, capturing the chaos as it unfolded live. Colbert, visibly unraveling, slammed his desk, his signature cool slipping. "That's enough," he snapped. "You don't run this show." But Crockett didn't budge. "It's not your throne," she replied, stepping forward. Her presence owned the room. Producers, sensing total loss of control, signaled security, frantic. Yet the live feed kept rolling, broadcasting the carnage to millions. Behind the scenes, the crew was split. Some wanted to cut immediately. Others, smelling ratings gold, let it ride. Colbert tried to talk over her, but Crockett only got louder. "You're not a reporter. You're a frontman," she said, each word striking like a hammer. The audience, now a powder keg, roared and heckled in equal measure. One voice from the back yelled, "Finish him!" Offstage, a producer reportedly muttered, "We've lost it." And it was true. The interview had morphed into a full-on free-for-all. Then came the tipping point. "Get her out," Colbert muttered, his mic catching it loud and clear. Crockett spun, eyes blazing. "You don't tell me when I'm done." She ripped off her mic and let it fall with a thud that echoed across the stunned studio. Security hesitated, unsure how to approach a sitting congresswoman on live television. The crowd's noise hit a fever pitch. Online, the moment was already trending. Clips surged across platforms, each one more viral than the last. Analysts called it a cultural fault line. Crockett hadn't just clashed with a host, she'd taken a wrecking ball to late night's polished facade. She'd turned a guest appearance into a referendum on media power. When the feed finally cut, it was too late. The moment was seared into the internet's memory. Colbert sat frozen at his desk, the stage around him empty, the fallout just beginning. Crockett's exit was a mic drop in every sense, defiant, unscripted, unforgettable. Backstage, Colbert retreated in silence while his team scrambled to contain the chaos. Ratings, meanwhile, soared up 40% overnight. And Crockett, she wasted no time. "They can't hush the truth," she tweeted minutes later. It exploded. Over 60,000 retweets. By dawn, hashtag Crockett Strikes Back was everywhere. Online reactions were sharply divided. Supporters hailed her as a legend. One viral clip labeled her the reckoning late night needed. Critics called it a stunt. Analysts said it was a media moment that will be studied for years. One thing's certain, late night will never be the same again. A power shift on late night, Crockett's walk-off becomes a movement. The fallout from Representative Jasmine Crockett's explosive appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert has grown into something far larger than a single interview gone off script. What began as a fiery back and forth has transformed into a cultural flashpoint, one that's shaken late-night television and launched Crockett into an entirely new spotlight. She broke the guest mold, one media analyst put it, calling it a power shift that revealed the vulnerability of legacy platforms. For Colbert, it wasn't just a moment, it was a dent. Sources say the host was visibly irked afterward, with his team rushing to frame the incident as a spirited debate in a soon-to-be-released statement. Meanwhile, Crockett's camp is calling it a win, and insiders hint she's already eyeing her next move, possibly even a rival TV appearance to keep the momentum alive. Back. In her district, the buzz is real. Phone lines have been lighting up with supporters cheering her on, and grassroots petitions are now circulating, urging networks to give her more airtime. For The Late Show, the moment is a double-edged sword. Ratings have spiked, especially among younger viewers, but the hit to the show's carefully curated polish stings. Pundits say this may be a turning point. Either late night embraces more guests like Crockett, or clamps down to avoid another on-air derailment. One thing is certain, Jasmine Crockett didn't just appear on late night, she rewrote its rules. The flashpoint that won't fade. The saga hasn't cooled with the news cycle. In fact, it's only intensified. Crockett's viral mic drop moment has become an online sensation. By the following afternoon, her tweet, "They can't hush the truth," had passed 100,000 retweets. Fan edits of her walk-off are flooding TikTok, racking up millions of views. One constituent called her the voice we've been waiting for, and the phrase has since become a rallying cry. On the flip side, conservative outlets have labeled her a loose cannon who torched a high-profile opportunity for attention. Memes have taken over the internet. Colbert's stunned expression has become a viral template. When your guest goes rogue, One caption reads, "Alongside Crockett's now iconic exit." Colbert responds, but the buzz persists. Colbert's team has since taped a follow-up monologue, in which he frames the clash as a lively night that got away from us. It's a clear attempt to steer the narrative back into familiar terrain, but the bruise to his reputation lingers. Behind the scenes, the booking team is already reassessing its strategy. Should they lean into controversy to chase ratings or play it safe? Sources say producers are split. Meanwhile, Crockett is seizing the spotlight. Reports suggest she's in talks for a primetime sit-down on a rival network, one that would let her unpack the clash and take on the broader issue of media spin head-on. Political watchers are taking notice. Some whisper a potential 2026 Senate bid is gaining traction, fueled by an energized base and a newfound national profile. She turned a TV segment into a movement, one strategist noted, as donations and engagement numbers reportedly surge. Interestingly, Crockett has said little about the fictional ethics probe and oil donor narrative Colbert threw at her, letting the silence speak volumes. Her supporters have rushed to fill that void with praise while critics stew in speculation. A media reckoning? The broader impact may be even more significant. Media experts say this could mark a reckoning for the late-night format. "These shows thrive on control and power," said one media professor on a trending podcast. But Crockett flipped the script. She didn't play along, and that exposed the cracks. Some believe networks will respond by tightening the leash on future guests. Others predict a pivot toward more raw, unscripted energy to keep up with. The viral nature of platforms like TikTok and X, the public is divided. Half hail Crockett as a truth-teller disrupting a sanitized system. The other half mourn the perceived collapse of late night's signature wit and decorum. Either way, the story isn't fading, it's evolving. So where does this leave us? Crockett's star is rising. Colbert is recalibrating. And late-night TV? It's in flux. One viral moment may have changed the rules, and the ripples are just beginning. If you're into wild media showdowns and cultural flashpoints like this, hit subscribe. This ride is far from over. Where it all lands. A moment that shifted the landscape. In a media landscape often dominated by controlled narratives, sound bites, and scripted moments, Representative Jasmine Crockett's explosive appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert shattered expectations and possibly reshaped late-night television forever. Her on-air confrontation with one of comedy's sharpest political voices was more than a clash of personalities. It was a moment of raw, unscripted defiance that exposed the increasingly thin line between entertainment and influence, platform and power. For Crockett, it was a high-stakes gamble that paid off. Rather than shrink from confrontation, she leaned in, turning a TV guest spot into a national reckoning. Her refusal to back down, her directness in confronting both the host and the institution behind him, has resonated with a growing number of Americans tired of polished media spin and hungry for something more real, even if it's messy. In her silence on the fictional accusations and her refusal to play by late night's unspoken rules, Crockett let her walk-off speak for itself. And people listened. The support that poured in across social platforms, news outlets, and from constituents signals not just viral fame but lasting political momentum. She didn't just break the fourth wall, she broke the format. Meanwhile, Colbert and his team are left reeling. While ratings surged in the immediate aftermath, the long-term impact remains to be seen. His follow-up attempt to reframe the night as a lively moment that got away from us may soothe some viewers, but to others it comes across as an effort to regain control after it had so clearly been lost. Producers now face a choice: adapt or retreat. Will late-night shows become more daring, allowing for uncomfortable truths and unfiltered voices? Or will they double down on control, choosing safer guests and tighter scripts to protect their brand? Regardless, the power dynamics have shifted. Crockett has shown that guests, particularly those with a platform of their own, can flip the narrative, own the moment, and walk away with more than just applause. They can walk away with leverage, influence, and in her case, a skyrocketing political profile. With whispers of a Senate run growing louder, it's clear she's not done. This wasn't just a media moment, it was a launch pad. And for viewers? It's a signal that the era of one-way conversations may be ending. That authenticity, especially when it disrupts the expected, still has the power to break through. Crockett's walk-off wasn't just a mic drop, it was a message. The rules are changing. As late-night television, political media, and public discourse continue to evolve, one thing is certain. This moment will be remembered not as chaos but as catalyst. The game didn't just shift, it was rewritten. And we're all still watching what happens next.